Over the years of playing chess and analyzing games of various players, I've noticed a powerful trick that often leads to easy victories: sacrificing important pieces. This clever tactic throws opponents off balance and appears to involve minimal risk. Here's a trap for black in the Queen's Gambit declined. As white plays the initial Queen's pawn move, pawn to d4, black initially accepts the gambit. However, after white plays c4, instead of holding onto the extra pawn, black counterattacks with a gambit of their own by pushing their pawn to f5. White often accepts this pawn sacrifice, pushing their pawn to d4. At first, it may not seem like white is in trouble, but the pawn on d4 restricts the knight's movement to c3, making it slightly annoying. White then plays knight to f3, attacking the pawns on d4 and f5. Black defends the pawn on d4, and now the pawn on f5 becomes bothersome as it threatens to advance. White's usual move is to play pawn to e3, trying to eliminate the pawn on f5 and potentially trade queens to secure an advantage in the endgame. However, black throws a surprise with the in-between move, bishop to b4 check. White responds with bishop to d2, expecting a bishop exchange. But instead of the anticipated exchange, black plays pawn takes e3, forcing white's bishop to capture it. The bishop can't recapture with the f-pawn, or their pawn structure will be ruined, so they usually capture the black bishop on b4. Now, white hopes for a queen trade and a favorable endgame. However, black plays another unexpected move, pawn takes f2, constantly introducing these surprising in-between moves. Now, white's king must move since it's under check. If the king captures the pawn, they lose the queen, so they move to e2. In this position, it doesn't result in an immediate checkmate for black, but it leads to a queen trade. After capturing the white bishop on b4, black gains an extra pawn and exposes white's king in the endgame. This advantageous position allows black to further their attack, often castling queenside and putting pressure on white. In some cases, white may try to go after the pawn on f2 by playing king to e2, hoping to capture it. However, they may overlook that after knight to c2, they will lose their rook on h1, leading to a significant advantage for black. In conclusion, this trap in the Queen's Gambit declined allows black to gain an extra pawn and create a strategically advantageous position in the endgame, setting the stage for a strong attack and potential victory. One of the funniest traps in chess, even effective against high-rated opponents, is the mirrored Sicilian defense. As white, after black plays pawn to f5, you make the mysterious move pawn to h3, a clever preparation to launch pawn to g4. Your opponent might notice your intention and respond by playing knight to f6, believing they have thwarted your plans. However, you proceed with pawn to g4 regardless, and your opponent might capture the pawn. At this point, you play queen to d3, attacking both pawns on h7 and g4. Your opponent realizes the potential threat, as the pawn on g4 cannot advance due to the dangerous queen checkmate on g6. Feeling the urgency to protect their position, they might move their knight back, thinking they have securely solidified their defense. But here comes the masterstroke, you play rook takes h7. Now the tables have turned, and things take a drastic turn for the worst for black. You're attacking their rook, and if they accept the rook sacrifice with any piece, queen to g6 delivers a beautiful checkmate, spelling the end for black. This trap shows how even seemingly harmless moves can lead to devastating consequences in chess. By luring your opponent into a false sense of security, and then striking with unexpected tactics, you can score quick and impressive victories. Let's continue exposing some opponent blunders with another trap as white. If your opponent decides to play the Banco Gambit with pawn to b5, you can seize the opportunity to become the attacker instead of accepting their pawn sacrifices. By declining their offerings, you set the stage for a powerful counterattack. After capturing the first pawn on b5, your opponent may continue sacrificing more pawns in an attempt to create activity for their pieces. However, you remain unfazed and stick to your attacking plan. Instead of recapturing the pawn on b5, you focus on developing your pieces, playing knight to c3. As your opponent takes the pawn on b5, you once again refrain from recapturing and continue with your strategic play. Playing pawn to e4 now, your pawn threatens to advance and drive away their knight. Realizing the potential danger, your opponent may opt to play b4, aiming to kick away your knight while simultaneously winning the pawn on e4. Now, you make a deceptive move, queen to d3, attacking the knight and forcing it to retreat. When the knight returns to f6, your opponent may expect you to continue with a developing move, but instead, you surprise them with knight to d6. Suddenly, it's checkmate. Your knight delivers the final blow, catching your opponent off guard and securing a decisive victory. This trap demonstrates how cleverly ignoring your opponent's aggressive pawn sacrifices can lead to a powerful counterattack and a swift victory. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.